stock as well. Now that house is called the Papillon House. Anyone know what Papillon means? Butterfly, absolutely, that's the butterfly house. Now, you can't really tell from the front, but if you look at it from a bird's eye view, that home is shaped like a butterfly. Cool, right? Now, this home goes out to extreme property limits. And what that means, there's no front yard, no backyard, and no side yards. So where do they park all their fancy cars, right? Well, look straight through the first floor of that home. It is a 10-car garage with room for 2 stretch limousines. Okay? Because that's my only problem at home. I don't know where to fit my second stretch limousine, all right? Now, I did say there's no backyard, but we're in Florida. A house that nice, you gotta have a pool, right? Where'd they find room for that? Up on the roof, all right? They have a rooftop pool and jacuzzi, and y'all know what that means. No tan lines at that house, okay? Now, that house, as well as all these homes we're passing on the right-hand side, this is part of the Idlewild neighborhood here in Fort Lauderdale. It's a pretty old neighborhood by Fort Lauderdale standards. It was established back in the 50s. Now, back in the 50s, you could purchase a luxury house here for about $60,000 to $70,000. Now, that's obviously not the case anymore, all right? In this neighborhood, you'd be lucky to find a number under $3 million, and that's on the inside of the neighborhood, all right? But the craziest thing about that is these houses are still worth a lot less than every other one we're going to see on the tour today. And why is that? These are water view houses and not waterfront, all right? That little street there separating their mansions from their yachts does a great deal to decrease their property value. I know. These poor people got to walk all the way across the street to get to their yachts, okay? Now, once we round this corner, we're going to be hitting our waterfront houses, aka looking into people's backyards, all right? Got this first house on the corner with the black and white striped awnings. Now, before I tell you who this guy is, do I have any locals on the boat? Anybody live down here? Anyone at all? No one? All right. Well, a couple of you. All right. Well, if you lived here in the 90s, you might have bought your car from this guy over here. He had a commercial that played every 10 minutes on TV. Take a wild guess, see if you know it. If you need a car, truck, or van, who are you going to call? Who said Ghostbusters? I did hear Ma Rooney, though. Yeah, Mike Maroney, all right? Now, Mike Maroney owned the largest chain of used car dealerships down here in South Florida. He made every penny he's got buying and selling used cars, all right? Now, this upsets me quite a bit. I'm not going to lie to you guys, because growing up, my mom told me, Monica, go to school, get good grades, don't be a used car salesman, all right? Guys, I got my bachelor's degree, I got my captain's license, and I'm here showing you the used car salesman's house, all right? No shame in how you make your money down here. Now back to the left, first house we're gonna see here. It's got all the columns in the design, got the gazebo in the backyard as well. You might help this guy build his home if you have an LA Fitness membership. Anyone? Yeah. That would be the CEO of LA Fitness right there on your left-hand side. Now, this section of the tour is called Millionaire's Row. You might have seen that in some of our ads and some of our brochures. This is some of the biggest, flashiest houses that we're going to see today. And the next thing you're going to notice is that we haven't seen any people yet. All right? Does anyone live here? Not really. All right? These are mostly vacation houses. I'm not going to lie to you. They spend about 3 to 4 weeks out of the year here. Now back to your right-hand side, this 2-story beige house with the brown barrel tile roof. This is where I'd like to remind you that all it takes is one good idea. I say that because that is the founder and owner of the Honey Baked Ham, right there on your right-hand side. The Honey Baked Ham guy has a house out here. If he can do it, you can, guys. All it takes is one good idea. Now, making our way forward, first things first, straight up in front of us, you're going to get your first glimpse into our downtown skyline. That's where we're going to be heading this afternoon. You're also going to notice all of these red and green things that are sticking up out of the water. Now that first one on the left, it's got red on top, green on the bottom. What that means is that the waterway is splitting. Obviously, we're going to the right, that takes us downtown. And we also could have made a left and headed that little boat where he's going. Now, if we did, in about 2 hours, we'd be in Bayside Marketplace, Miami. All right, keep going another 5 hours, we would be in Key West. Another 6 hours, we would be in Cuba. And another 2 minutes, we'd be in jail, okay? So, we're gonna stick to the right, we're gonna take you into downtown. But all jokes aside, guys, it's very important to understand what these things mean if you're gonna drive a boat down here in South Florida. Because I'll be completely real with you guys, Everybody wants to move to Fort Lauderdale, and half of these guys have more dollars than they do cents, okay? They like to buy these 100-foot yachts with no idea how to drive them, and if you didn't know any better, it looks like you can make a left turn right about here. Why not, right? Well, that is actually a local sandbar, and at low tide, it's only about 6 inches deep over there, all right? So people make that mistake pretty frequently. But every other day, it's actually a local party spot out here. You can see we even got a floating tiki bar out there on your left-hand side. Guys, those are super cool. They're available for charter. You can get 6 people on that thing. They'll cruise you up and down the river, take you to the sandbar. Now, word to the wise, the captain is also your bartender. So do with that information. Do with that information what you will, but that is one of our local party spots here on the left. Now, back to the right-hand side, take a look at this house with the rock seawall flags hanging from the palm trees there. If you look real close on the rocks, there's a little crocodile sitting there. You guys see him? He's not real, okay? That's a stone crocodile. He hasn't moved in a while. But that might give you a hint at who the owner of this house was. He made all of his money putting crocodiles on polo shirts. Lacoste. Yeah, absolutely. That house there was built for Rene Lacoste himself. Now, obviously, he's passed away. The home's been sold a couple times since then. But funny enough, right before he died, he put that crocodile in the deed to the property. All right? So no matter who owns it, that little tribute to him is not going anywhere. Also, on your right-hand side, got this house under construction, all the for sale signs in the backyard here. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't actually have much to say about this house, but what I will tell you is I've been working here for 5.5 years now, and they've been building this house for 5.5 years now. That's all I got. All right, come back in 2 or 3 years, and there's probably still not going to be a house there for me to tell you that. Now, back to your left-hand side again. 2-story beige house. They have 2 boats, only 1 boat in their backyard today. Now, I don't like talking about this guy too loud. I don't want him to hear me. That is South Florida's richest drug dealer. Yes, true story. I stopped by there this morning, got a couple of things that I need. Guys, get your cut out of it. That is the CEO of Walgreens. Guys, my jokes don't get any better than that. Okay? That's why we got a bar on the boat. Now, back to your right, kind of passing this one already. That yellow house is actually owned by a guy named Herbert Cole. He was the founder and owner of Cole's Department Stores, believe it or not. Right. Now, sticking to your right-hand side as well, got this pale yellow house with the yacht out back. Now, keep in mind that this house with the yacht, as well as the next 2 on your right-hand side, all of these were purchased by a guy named Dwayne Huizinga and given as gifts to his family members. All right, bear with me. That yellow one, that was for his daughter, Pamela Huizinga. This white one, that was for his sister, Bonnie Huizinga. And the next one up in front, that was for Steve Hudson, his nephew. Now, I know what you're thinking at this point. How do I get to that guy's family? No, I'm kidding. How do you make all this money? Well, he's the only person in history so far to found 3 Fortune 500 companies from the ground up, and you know all 3 of them, all right? His first idea was waste management, nationwide garbage pickup. Number 2 was automation, and number 3, Blockbuster Video. Okay? Now you're probably sitting here thinking he lost all of his money on Blockbuster. He was a great businessman. He sold it to a company called Viacom for $8 billion 6 months before Netflix came out, all right? That was the end of Blockbuster, all right? Now, you also might have heard of him if you're a sports fan. Any Dolphins fans on the boat? Any at all? No, boo? Oh, no. Well, he was the sole owner of the Miami Dolphins. He also founded the Florida Marlins baseball team as well as the Florida Panthers hockey team. So we have full ownership of 3 major South Florida sports teams. Big waves, all our friends out here on the water as well. Quite a bit of traffic that we're going to see this afternoon. Now, I do have a house to talk about that is for sale, if anyone's interested. Do I have any house hunters on the boat? There's always at least one. You right here? Absolutely. Now, up front on your left-hand side, you'll see that brick front mansion sitting right up on the corner here. All right. Now, let me tell you about it first to see if you like it. This is an 8-bedroom, 12-bathroom house, 11,000 square feet on the inside. All right. Now, this house just went up for sale, and on the ad, it says that you can move in for $3.2 million. That's not that bad. Bridge openings, like, did we have to time this perfectly in order to get that? And that is actually not the case, all right? On the New River in particular, these are what we call on-demand bridges. So our captain is upstairs, he's calling all these guys on the radio one by one, and they'll go ahead and open up that bridge once they see us pull up. Now, the coolest thing about that is I told you this river is very, very, very old, right? So obviously the bridges came after the river. The boaters were pretty upset about that. Yeah. We used to be able to cruise however we wanted, right? And now these bridges are here. So cool enough, there's actually a very, very old document that gives boats the right of way over car traffic, believe it or not. Every time you pull up to this bridge, as you can tell, we're going to be back here in about 7 minutes. He'll open it up again. And that's helpful to know if you're going to be driving, all right? These bridges go up and down however they please. Some more waves to our friends over here, guys. That is the Rivertail. Another excellent restaurant to check out here. we are going to get to check out a couple cruise ships today. One in particular is on your left, Celebrity Beyond. That's that navy blue cruise ship over there. Now, Celebrity is an absolutely fantastic company, and I always like to shout them out every single time we see one of their ships. Now, Celebrity Beyond, the captain on that cruise ship right there, her name is Captain Kate, and she was the first female cruise ship captain ever. Absolutely right. Since then, Celebrity has hired, I think, 3 or 4 more female captains, but they are still the only company that has American women as captains. So absolutely fantastic, yeah? Now, also on your left-hand side, another cruise ship worth pointing out is going to be that big... Guys, the power of these cruise ships is absolutely absurd, too. When you see them start to take off, the power that comes out of some of those motors there, it churns up everything underneath. It's really, really cool. Everybody up on the top deck. Oh, this is fantastic. Big wave to Broward Sheriff's Office as well. Nothing to see here. Just interrupting the cruise ship from leaving. No big deal. Now you can see we got some beautiful houses over here on the right-hand side. We got some beachfront properties coming into view. Now, a funny thing about this is that none of these, believe me, you can Google it for yourself right now. That's how I get all my information about these yachts, all right? Absolutely unbelievable. Now, there's so many yachts out today. This is absolutely fantastic. Now, another one is coming up on your left-hand side that I know quite a bit about. That is Motor Yacht Aviva. Got kind of like a robin blue hull on the bottom. This is another gorgeous yacht. Now, this one is owned by a guy named Joe Lewis. It's been a while since I've talked about him, so bear with me. Now, Joe Lewis is a British billionaire. I can't remember exactly what companies he started or something like that. Now, you're looking at a yacht that size and thinking, what else could a guy need, right? Well, let me tell you, Joe Lewis in particular, he has a Viva 1, a Viva 2, and a Viva 3, okay? This isn't even the largest one. This is the mid-sized one. There is one bigger than that. The biggest one, believe it or not, is to do that. The biggest one, believe it or not, has a full-size indoor tennis court. Again, why not? I couldn't tell you. Now, the next thing that comes along with that, I told you that one was $200 million. Aviva sold for, I think, $185 million. But I don't have that kind of money, right? What if we don't want to buy a yacht? What if we just want to charter it out? Like, how many of you guys have seen the show Below Deck? I'm sure, right? Absolutely. So, what is a charter on that yacht? Obviously, no presidents have ever lived here. Don't know why he made it look like the White House, but this guy is really, really cool. His name is Jack Hutchins, and how he made his money is even better, all right? So, back in the 80s, he worked for General Motors, and he invented this piece that goes into the air conditioning of cars. What did it do? No idea, I couldn't tell you, all right? But GM loved his invention so much that they started putting it into every single one of their cars. And not too long after that, Jack got fired, all right? Jack lost his job, and GM continued to use his part without ever giving him credit or ever paying him for it either. So he did what any logical man would do, and he took him to court. After about 10 years, he actually won the lawsuit for $2.63. Okay? For every car that GM manufactured for the rest of his lifetime. Now, I don't know how many cars they make a year at GM, but old Jack's doing pretty well for himself there on the left-hand side. That house is currently listed for $31.6 million. No takers so far, believe it or not. Now, back to your right-hand side, 2-story beige house, brown roof, all the shutters up on the windows. This is a name I guarantee you know. It was originally built for a guy named Dave Thomas. Wendy's, absolutely. Now, right next door, I got this beautiful yellow house with all the purple furniture, got the yacht out back as well. Now, the former owner of this home was a very popular plastic surgeon here in South Florida. I got a lot of uplifting stories about that guy, but the current owner of it, his name is Andrew Heller. He's a venture capitalist. That in itself is not very interesting, but look at all his bushes. They're all shaped like animals. A couple of them got knocked over with the wind there, but Mr. Heller is a huge animal lover, and recently. Him and his wife, they donate almost all of their spare money into no-kill shelters and rescue shelters all over South Florida, okay? To soak in how big that house really is, and let me tell you, it is just shy of 31,000 square feet on the inside. 31,000. Now, all of that is owned by a couple from St. Louis. Their names are Doug and Linda Von Almond. What did they do to make all their money? Well, they were very early investors into a small beauty brand at the time that's now called L'Oreal Cosmetics. Okay? Sunglass Hut and Swatch were two more of their big investment companies there. Now, Doug and Linda, happily married for a very, very long time, over 30-something years at this point. Now, they're pretty famous, they do a lot of interviews, and the number one question they get is, you know, you guys have all this money, with money comes problems, right? So what's the key to your healthy marriage? And they say, 31,000 square feet, okay. They haven't seen each other since they moved in. Now, back to your right-hand side, unfortunately, we're looking at the empty lot here. They just tore down the house, and I'm really, really bummed out about it. But there was a house there that was owned by a guy named Johnny Weissmuller. Anyone remember him? Tarzan, right? He was one of the first guys to play the role of Tarzan, also a very decorated Olympic swimmer of his day as well. Now, sticking to your right, got this white modern house with the jet skis, the kayaks, got a couple Christmas decorations left over here. Now, this one was built for a guy named Michael Mann. He was the producer on a lot of TV shows, but most famously, Miami Vice. Okay? Now, that house might look familiar. They actually featured it in 17 different episodes of Miami Vice. Now, do you have any big Miami Vice fans? Anyone at all? So, a completely useless piece of knowledge about this house. When they started filming there, they didn't really like it that much, to be honest. They spent a bunch of money to lower the ceilings by 2.5 feet just so Don Johnson will look taller on TV. True story. Now, the last house I'm going to show you guys is also on your right. It's that white modern house with the brick chimney, got the little gray boat out back. Now, this one is owned by Chuck West, the founder and owner of Pet Supermarket. I did say his name earlier. He owns quite a few properties out here on the water, but that's not really what I'm getting at. I'd like to tell you guys about him as we drive by. So normally, right behind his house here, he has a $60 million yacht named Party Girl. Okay, what's a distinguished businessman doing with a yacht named Party Girl? You're probably asking. Well, he didn't get that yacht for himself. That was for a 16-year-old daughter on her sweet 16. Does anyone want to know what I got for my sweet 16? I got a job, ladies and gentlemen. Probably like most of us on this boat here. Well, that's that taller green building there. That is the oldest hotel in Fort Lauderdale, built in 1936, originally back in the day. Little fun fact, Ronald Reagan was actually the one that cut the ribbon for their opening ceremony there. Now, another cool spot to point out is also on your right, this little white house in the middle of downtown Fort Lauderdale. That is a very, very historic building there. That is the oldest surviving structure in Fort Lauderdale. It was built in 1901, all right? And if you know anything about South Florida, stuff doesn't last that long here, all right? Hurricanes, humidities. Now, it is called the Stranahan House. It's a museum now. I highly recommend checking it out. Now, do me a favor. If you do decide to visit the museum, please see if the groundskeeper is working that day, all right? His name is George, and the reason I say to talk to him, he got hired at the Stranahan House when he was 17 years old. About 3 weeks ago, he turned 83 years old, okay? He is still working at the Stranahan House. If you want to hear the deep, dark secrets of Fort Lauderdale, I guarantee you that guy's got some of them. Now, cruising our way farther forward, I do want to tell you about the waterway that we're on right now. So we're not on the intercoastal, all right? This is actually considered the New River. That's what runs here through downtown Fort Lauderdale. Now, this is also a naturally formed body of water, and the easiest way to recognize that is how twisty and turny some of these spots can get here, also how narrow it is as well. Now, New River, the story behind that, it was established like 500-600 years ago, so why is it called the New River? Well, back in the day, the Seminole Indians were the only people down here. They woke up one morning, tried to get to their hunting grounds, and they literally couldn't, all right? Overnight, an earthquake had happened, broke the aquifer that sits underneath the state of Florida, and literally created every inch of what we're traveling on right now. Now, the Seminole Indians, they named it him or she. Now, that translates pretty directly to New River. And as you can see, guys, we are coming up to drawbridge number 1 of our afternoon today. Yeah, pretty cool. This is 3rd Avenue drawbridge right here. There we go. Now, we also have some pretty friendly bridge tenders. If my friend's on the right-hand side of the boat, once we get through, you can stick your head up, give him a wave. Normally he's poking his head out to wave at you. Is he there? Give him a wave. Hello. Now, I do like waving at them, saying hello, because I got 2 more trips to do today, and I want him to keep opening up the bridge for us. All right. Really friendly guys, though, there. All right, folks, so not too long, I was telling you about the oldest hotel in Fort Lauderdale. Now I'm going to tell you about the biggest hotel. It's off in the distance on your left-hand side there. I don't know how much you guys spent on your hotels, but I want to tell you that this hotel let 1,500 people stay there, no charge last night, all right? If you check in before a certain time, they will even feed you for free. What am I talking about? The only reason that I know this is because I've spent 3 nights there. That is the Broward County Jail, ladies and gentlemen. That isn't a joke, I wish it was, but that is the jail, all right? That pink building, that was the Broward County Courthouse. Now, I regret to inform you here that the jail and the courthouse sit on the most expensive property that we are going to drive past today, all right? That is a $62 million waterfront property. Again, wish I was making that stuff up. If you hear that chirping, maybe you can see them over there on the left. We got some parakeets flying around there. They're absolutely adorable, bright green parakeets flying around every once in a while. Now, also on the left-hand side, that is the Downtowners Saloon. Excellent food over there, great drinks, but more importantly, this is actually very historic as well. Now, this is considered the oldest restaurant in Fort Lauderdale, and it's actually so old that it was a speakeasy in the Prohibition era, all right? So really, really cool history here. Now, you wouldn't be able to tell that just by walking through the front door, right? But there is a back room in there. You can actually see the doorway from here. It's called the Maxwell Room. I made that up. That is the founder of Winnebago RVs. But there's nothing funny about that, so I'll say the Windex thing sometimes. Now, back to your right-hand side. Got quite a few on this street to tell you about there. That 2-story yellowish house with the boat up on a lift, that is actually built for the family that started Alka-Seltzer on your right-hand side. Now, we're going to skip 2 houses and go to the one with the barrel tile roof and the teeny tiny red boat in the backyard there. Now, that one is owned by Tom Bodette. Anyone remember him? I heard it.